Hi, I'm Palma, and I've always been fascinated about how art can bring science and history back to life. That's why some years ago, I decided to start a project on a book titled Extinct Animals of the 20th Century, because when we think of extinct species, we tend to only think about those huge ones that went extinct thousands of years ago. And we don't realize that right now we're living through one of the greatest mass extinctions that have ever happened. But this time, it's because of us humans that this is happening. So I wanted to bring back to life some of those animals that went extinct because of humans only in the last century. So I wanted to create something that would really connect with people. And I wanted to do that by mixing together the part of art by drawing the animals and the part of science. What I did is a full research on the taxonomy of each of these animals. I developed this taxonomy and I had to go through dozens of research papers. I had to contact experts in biology, and the drawings were also a big challenge because sometimes there were only all scientific drawings available for these animals. There weren't even pictures at the time. So for each animal, I had to spend hours researching the anatomy of the animal and comparing sketches that I found of them, and then recreating these drawings. When I do the drawings of these animals, I follow a two-stage process. I first drew them in pencil, just black and white, and then gave them a little bit of color through coloring pencils. But I wanted to follow a scientific drawing technique while also highlighting a few of the most visible, most recognizable characteristics of these animals. So the second stage of that process is drawing again the animal, but in watercolor this time, again following a scientific kind of approach, but still highlighting even more these colors of the animals. I also tell the story of every of these species next to every drawing in the book. I try to reconstruct the story of what is known of their life and also of their death of the species, their extinction. And I find some of them very moving. One of my favorite, and to me the most moving story that I tell in this book, is the one of this little bird right here. Is a seaside sparrow. And they used to live in a swamp by the Kennedy Space Center, but the swamp got sprayed with DDT to control mosquitoes, and it killed 1,500 pairs of the birds. A couple years later, it got flooded without any type of regulation or control again for mosquitoes. And on the last effort to save the species, a swamp got bite nearby, but that swamp got destroyed to build a road to connect Disney World with the Kennedy Space Center. So the species was really badly affected. And the last specimen of this species was a very old bird. It was called orange band, and it was given to Disney World Park, where it died inside a cage on the park. This right here is a passenger pigeon, and when they crossed the sky, the whole sky would go dark as if it was nighttime. There were so many crossing the sky that you could feel the vibration caused because of their wings. And they got extincted because of mass hunting. They were used to feed domestic animals and slaves, and on 1871, even after that much hunting, there were still alive 36 million of this species. The thing is that a couple years later, on 1896, the last big colony was massacred in a day. After all that killing, they killed, I think it was 250,000 of these animals in just a day, all adults. And the last one was killed by a child in Ohio on 1900. This one right here is a Mexican grizzly bear, and it's very special because it was also known as the silver bear, and that's because of its fur. On daylight, because of the sunlight, you could see its fur reflect in a silver or yellowish color, and that's how it got that special name. And that's what I wanted to highlight about it here in the drawing, first in pencil and later on in the watercolor one, that silver shine. But this animal was omnivorous. It used to feed on insects and also some small mammals apart from plants and vegetables. And it lived in the central and north part of Mexico. But because of the increase in population on the 1900, people started to occupy the areas in which this bird lived. And because of excessive hunting, it ended up getting extinct. The last specimen was seen on 1964, but no one knows what happened to the last one. No one collected its story. This little marsupial right here is another very interesting animal. It's called the southern pig-footed bandicoot, and it used to live in Victoria and also some areas of Australia. But what is interesting about it, and what I tried and highlight in this drawing, is that the end of its legs look like what you would see in a pig foot. That's why it was called a pig-footed bandicoot. Another very interesting thing is with its scientific name, which is Chaeropus caudatus, and that means without tail. But you can see it has a pretty long tail in the drawing. That is because the first specimen that was discovered was one that didn't have a tail because of an accident. So the person who discovered it thought it was just a common characteristic of this species to not have a tail, and it put it that name. This one right here is the golden coqui, and it used to live in Puerto Rico. It was the only frog species in the Americas that was oviviparous, and the thing about it is that it had a very beautiful bright gold orange like color, which is what I try and highlight here in the watercolor drawing. Another interesting thing about it is that it's called coqui because of the sound the males made. The call the males had was sounded like coqui. That's where the name came from. What excites me the most about this project is that it isn't just about the past. It isn't just about remembering the species that us humans have made extinct. It's also about understanding how we can make sure that in the future some other stories continue. I want my work to make people understand that these creatures were alive just a little bit ago, and to make sure that some of the future stories of other species now endangered can still continue for many more years.